You're busy, you've got a decent practice, but nobody wants to be decent. You want to be great, and you want to have a great practice. So how did the most productive, profitable dentist in the nation balance real life, work, and profits, and somehow make it all seem fun? Well, it comes down to simple, everyday practices. So grab a lunch, join us as we chat with top clinicians and influencers to discover their formula for uncommon success. Are you ready? Then it's time to explore everyday practices with Vicki McManus-Peterson and Dr. Chad Johnson.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Everyday Practices, the podcast with myself, Chad Johnson, and Vicki McManus-Peterson. Hi, Vicki.
Woohoo. Hello, Chad.
Well, today, Vicki, we have a special guest, Nicole Marquez. And Nicole, I just want to kind of let the listeners in on Nicole's bio. 10 years ago, Nicole was an aspiring actor, dancer, and she was living in New York. She was working to make her way onto the Broadway stage, but sadly, she had a horrible accident. And Nicole fell 6 stories off the roof of her apartment building. And despite a negative prognosis and against all odds, she's alive and walking. And she has an internal battle to keep moving that's no different than us other human beings. But because of her extraordinary circumstances, Nicole believes it's her duty to remind us that, yes, bad times and sometimes horrible things may happen to our lives, but we are all survivors of some sort, and there's always hope. She believes that hanging on to those ideals can get us around that last corner where healing and peace await. So, Nicole, without any further ado, welcome to Everyday Practices.
Oh, thank you. It sounds, wow, you have such a wonderful voice to read that. I feel so big time now.
It's all microphone magic.
I love it. Hello. So happy to be a part of this.
We're so happy to have you here, Nicole. And 2 things. Number one, I want to share with our listeners how we got connected and talk a little bit about your connection to dentistry. And then I would love for you to share with us how you're inspiring others through your story. How's that sound?
I can do that. You might have to walk me through that. So the first question.
Oh, you bet.
How I met, or how you and I met, or here.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, I'm a Mississippi native, born and raised. And when I had my accident, of course, the doctors put Humpty Dumpty back together again, but I had a lot of different issues. My teeth were messed up. I had some vision issues. And how we met was I was recommended by a friend of mine to a wonderful, wonderful dentist, Dr. Jim E. Watson, who I just adore. And he and his staff, he never paid me to say this either. This is all me. But he and his staff are incredible, and they have just really gone above and beyond to always help me every time I've gone in. And one of the questions I asked him on one of my appointments was, in the dental field, all the different things that they teach you, do they teach you how to work with someone with a disability? And he told me about this wonderful woman named Vicki, who I need to get in contact with, because he said, this is a wonderful woman that I worked on her. She's fantastic. And that's actually a wonderful topic that I think you should bring up to her. And you and I are talking now. And the rest is history.
It is history. And you know what? Jim Ed and I have been in relationship since 1999. It's just amazing.
Oh, wow.
I started coaching his office way back then. And what I love about him and his team is the consistency they bring and the love that they bring to every patient. And
Agreed.
when you shared your story with me, you had some really specific things that you wanted dentists to know, things that they did, which seemed kind of natural for them, but you found to be pretty extraordinary in your experience. So you came at it from the point of view of a person with disabilities and limitations. So how did they treat you that helped you feel really welcomed and special in their practice? What did they do?
The first time I ever entered his practice, I was still in the beginning stages of my recovery. So at that time, I was not walking. I was still on a walker, and I had to have a lot of assistance. And I called ahead of time. And one thing I noticed that because I called ahead of time, I just wanted to let them know my condition, that just to be aware so that nobody was shocked. I'll never forget the first day I entered his practice, there was already somebody at the front door waiting with it open because they just assumed that I probably was not going to be able to open the door since it was so heavy. That like from that point on, I was just kind of looking around like, who are these people? What's going on here? But they didn't treat me. See, the one thing about when you get into the disability world, there's, how can I put this? People treat you a certain way, and mainly the best example is they treat you like a puppy, which is nice at times, but you just want to feel normal and you want to feel like everybody else. And they did such a great job to just make me feel like a person. At the time, I was suffering with incontinence, and I had to have help going to the restroom. Not one nurse batted an eyelash. It's almost as if like they were always on call, because just getting my teeth cleaned, I'd have to frequently go use the restroom, and what should have been maybe a 20-minute cleaning would turn into an hour. But none of them ever showed that they were annoyed. None of them ever showed signs of, when is this going to be over with? How is this going to hurry? They were very, very cautious as to help me get into the chair and help me get out. At the time, also, any kind of machine drilling or cleaning, it brought back some very odd memories from my time in the hospital. So he was really sweet, and he allowed me to put headphones on and play music. And here I am listening to jokes with the nurses and Dr. Watson. And
you put on the comedy channel?
We put it on the comedy channel. And poor guy, he told me,
that sounds
like,
cruel.
This is great. Well, yeah, he said, this is great because you're opening your mouth, but Nicole, like, we can't do this because we're all laughing, and I've got sharp instruments. It's like, I'm sorry, Dr. Watson, just got to go with it.
That's
but
awesome.
even though they're treating me this way, if you flip the coin around, I noticed that I wasn't the only one that was treated this way, meaning that anybody that was able-bodied, they did the exact same thing. Every single person that walks through his door is important, and that meant so much to me because I didn't want to be the one that stood out. And when you are disabled and you have different devices, you get stares. It's just a part of it. I get it. But they made the other patients feel comfortable that I was in the room. Mm-hmm. And that meant a lot. And with the other patients, they made those patients feel comfortable that they're in his care. And it was like a well-oiled machine. And just taking this all in, that's why I never had any intention to go anywhere else but to his practice, because of just the above and beyond he and his staff not only did for me, but for every single individual that came through that door.
Wow.
But this blew me away, though, because like I said again, when you're thrown into this world of disability, everything is different. Your whole world is turned around. And things that you took for granted, just as simple as like opening a door, you can't do that anymore. And you know, we have this weird thing in our society, in our culture today, where it's touch and go. You want to help, but you're not sure if you're going to offend, but you just don't really know what to do. And the fact that they just ran with it, I don't know, I'm getting tongue-tied because I'm getting a little emotional.
No, boy, you're doing great. You're doing great.
It says a lot about that practice, but also I felt really blessed, because I've been to other doctors' offices before where that wasn't the way that they ran things, and that it was more of just a job. It's like, do this patient, let's go to the next one. Finish this patient up, let's go to the next one. Out the door, out the door, out the door. And I can imagine when you get into a routine like that, it just becomes mechanic to you. But this is different though. I think it's something that every now and then you have to take a step back and just really look at the big picture in your practice to say, okay, who am I really doing this for? Myself or for my patients? And I think that's what I think that's what makes his practice stand alone in a way.
Wow.
So
wow.
I'm trying to sound intelligent. Yes.
Do you talk about any of this experience in your book that you just wrote this or finished writing and publishing this spring, The Falling Isn't Failure? Can you tell me about the book in general, and do you have any of this kind of description in there as well?
I do. It's mostly the best way I can describe it is my book is more of an adult picture book, because at the time I was dating someone who's a photographer, and he documented my entire time in the hospital, my recovery. After I got out of the hospital, well, we parted ways, and then it happens. Yes. And then another friend came in that was a photographer and picked it right back up. But throughout the book, though, I do have a lot of different, even though it's heavy on photos, I do have a storyline throughout from beginning to end, and I do touch on that.
Cool. And what's really so cool about this, Nicole, is Dr. Johnson and I can go out there and go, yeah, be a productive dentist, and what that really means is to be productive is to be focused, to be compassionate, to really be one-on-one with whoever's right in front of you. Because if you're not, then you just kind of spin out of control, and it's chaotic and it's weird, and it becomes like the factory you're talking about. And so to hear from a patient the experience, from a team that's been coached in that way, it's a blessing for us. It's kind of a confirmation of the work that we're doing, that it's really all about relationships and helping people feel safe and helping them feel trusted.
Well, it really is. You said it best. It's the compassion that I experience and have always experienced when I go to see him. That's the thing that drives me going back time and time again, because I don't want to go to anybody else, because I just don't know if I'd get that. In a way, I'm a little spoiled.
Well, Jim Ed, if you're listening, you're going to have to stay healthy for a very, very long time, because Nicole leaps from tall buildings, breaks her back, and comes back. So I know you're not going anywhere, Nicole. So
no.
It's stay healthy for a while. So tell us what you're... Go ahead.
But I'm sorry. I was just going to... I just love that. I love how there are dentists out there that really, really care about their patients. That's all.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So tell us what you're doing. Are you dancing? Did you get back to dancing and acting and storytelling and all those fun things? I'm so curious.
Well, oddly enough, I actually had my first real big performance about a month ago.
Nice.
It was a variety, right here in New Orleans. It was a variety / kind of vaudeville show, and that was extremely exciting. In fact, I'm working with a bunch of different performers here to see if maybe I can go down that road again a little bit more. I got a taste of it, and now it's like I'm back. It's like, oh, I need another one. I need to get on stage again.
You're a theater junkie.
Oh yeah, big time. Wow, you know me so well.
Well, take us through this. How old were you doing, and what were you doing in New York when this happened? Take us like what your life was like and the accident and.
I was 28 when I moved to New York, and I at that point in my life I was probably at the peak physical condition I'd ever wanted to be at. I was good enough, strong enough. I had conditioned myself mentally, physically, financially, everything in between, and moved to New York after 2 different acting apprenticeships, and I was ready to tackle Broadway. I didn't necessarily want to be a lead in anything. I just wanted to perform on one of those Broadway stages. Mm-hmm. So I lived there for 8 months and fell in love with it. New York was my playground. Every day was a new day. One night after, I probably had the best audition I had since I had moved, because within those 8 months, I'd figured out how the audition process worked. I'd actually booked a few acting and dancing gigs here and there. They weren't anything major, but for me, it the beginning of something. So on August the 30th, I had a really great audition. I felt pumped. I did not go home. I just went to a coffee shop and started sending out resumes and looking for different auditions coming up. And I was so jazzed. And then get home and, well, I'm locked out of my apartment. And the worst part was none of my roommates were home. So we lived on the very, very top floor of our building, and we had direct access. We would go on the roof we were all actors, so we would go to the roof to go over our lines. Sometimes we would just hang out. So I'm a fixer just by nature. I like to find solutions to any kind of problem that I find myself in. And the solution was, well, I bet if I can get to the roof, I could probably go down that fire escape that opens up to my roommate's window. It seemed like an easy enough idea, but I actually remember going on the roof, and I looked down, and immediately I had a really bad feeling. And the next thought was, if I attempt this and I miss, my mom's going to kill me. So I probably shouldn't do this. And that was my last thought. I don't need to do this. I shouldn't do this. And I turned around to walk away. That's the very last thing I remember. And then the next time I opened my eyes, I was lying in a hospital bed.
Wow. And what period of time were you missing there from the fall until you woke up?
That's actually a really good question. This is going to sound bizarre, but when I woke up, at first, the first time I ever opened up my eyes, I was back in my apartment, in my bedroom. And I just remember thinking, oh, wow, that was a really weird dream. I guess I did get inside my apartment. And it seemed like for 3 days, I just didn't leave my apartment. But anytime I fell asleep, I kept on having this horrible reoccurring dream that I was in the hospital. And then, like I said, it was around day 3 that's when I really that's when I snapped out of it and go, oh, I am in the hospital. This isn't a bad dream. So it was about, I want to say roughly it was about 3 days I was out of it.
Well,
until I came to.
I think I bring this up because you and Chad kind of have,
Yeah.
Chad did not fall off a roof. He is not Superman. He's like, what's the other one? Flame Man? Burning Man? He has a superpower of fire. I'm telling you, I've never even had a stitch. I feel so lucky. I really,
that's why you need to drive with me.
No. That's actually what motivated me to climb Mount St. Helens when I turned 50, because I thought about my friends who were, I could not do that today, but I was thinking about my friends who, thank you. And had I known you back then, I would have had you on my arm, but I was thinking about friends who were paralyzed, friends who had had terrible accidents, friends whose health had, they had been healthy, vibrant, wonderful, amazing, and then something sudden happened in their life. So I wrote all their names on my arms because I thought, I am so lucky and I'm so healthy. So I might get tired, I might get sore, but you've never broken a bone. You've never had this. So knowing you, Nicole, just really helps me expand my compassion and hearing your story. Yeah, just hearing your story and knowing, where you've been and your track of recovery, and then this wonderful story of compassion with Jim Ed. I mean, you make me a better person. You make me want to be a better person.
Oh, I do what I can. Your check will be in the mail. Thank you.
Thank you for not pushing me off a building to learn the lesson.
Oh, no, I will tell you, I always wanted to be famous. I didn't really picture it this way, but what are you going to do?
I love it. So how's the book sales going? You've just got that out and you're doing a little acting?
Well, yes. So it's on, it's an ebook just because I'm learning about the publishing world. So it is an ebook. It's $2.99, which I think is great. And I'm really proud of it. Me and the other gal that helped me put this together, Talamika Bryce of Bryce Media, she did such a great job and really captured everything that not only I, but the both of us, the vision of it. And it's on blurb.com, and really all you have to do is type in my name and falling isn't failure on Google, and it's going to pop up. But that's the easiest way to find it.
Nicole-Marquez.com. That when I was kind of doing some of the research and stuff, seemed to have the most dynamic story explanation for those that want to cut to the chase and check it out. Hey, so I have a side question for you, because it's really no big deal, but what's your favorite Broadway show?
Oh no, you got me stumped. That's so hard.
All of them. And off-Broadway too.
Yes.
Huge fan of Matthew Broderick. So I can't even tell you. When I first heard How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, I think my mom was going to kill me if they heard one more song. Of course, Les Miserables. I mean, yes. I can't help that. But some of the newer stuff, I feel like this is sacrilegious to say this, but never really got into Wicked, and that's my fault. But
that's my fault.
I love Wicked.
I've had many a debate with friends who, and I'm not knocking it, because those two women, my God, they can sing, and the special effects and the costumes, everything is incredible. Not my favorite, but it doesn't mean that that's the end of the world. I respect all Broadway shows, but that's just, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know why, but I think one day I'll get on the Wicked bandwagon with everybody else.
I love it. I'm kind of like that with Rent, and I can't really say that out loud, because people either love it or they hate it. And I just wasn't prepared for it, right? It was like a coming-of-age story about boys growing up in New York. I was like, no, they're all dying of heroin. You didn't tell me everybody here was gonna die. Like, it was like a coming of age. I thought Opie Taylor would be coming out, right? And it was like, no, everybody's dead.
About sadness.
I kept waiting for it to get better, and it didn't. And I was just crying through the whole thing. I was like, oh my God. I thought it was gonna be a comedy. I was not prepared.
I love how, like, the different direction Broadway has gone in the last, I don't know, 10, 12 years. Mm-hmm. There's so many I want to see. I have not seen this yet, but I'm dying to. I have only heard amazing things about The Lion King. Yeah. And definitely on my bucket list. Of course, Hamilton. But another one that I have yet to see that I'm dying to is, what is it? The Mormons. Book of Mormon.
I saw that. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
Is it amazing?
It is. Yeah. It is hilarious. Oh, Nicole, I want you to do me a favor. Will you please call us when you make it back to Broadway? Because I have no doubt, with your determination and your great attitude, that you're going to make it back there. And connect with Chad and I. I'm in New Orleans, quite often. So if you've got a play going on, let me know.
Don't be a stranger.
To come and see it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Love it.
I'm super excited to be on this bandwagon. Let's just say that, and I say this a lot, but nobody's life is perfect. That's what makes us who we are, and that's fine. Not every day is a good day, and that's okay. I think that we forget to allow ourselves to not have a good day, but I think that on those bad days, it's really good to look back at all the good ones you had. And the best part of having a bad day is, like, once it's over, it's done. You never have to experience that bad day again.
That's right.
That's my ultimate
everyday
goal.
Practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
there's our nugget.
All this
That's right. Take it a day at a time. Nicole, one thing that I wish for you is for you to at least just consider, not necessarily bring it to fruition, but I'm sure I'm not the first person to have brought it up, but I'm the first dental podcaster to have brought it up, is for you to consider making your life into your own show, like not necessarily a monologue, but that would be really cool to see some kind of adaptation of your life story, because we all have a story. And like you just said, that's a really good nugget, a take home everyday practice for us is, one good day and one bad day at a time, and just, take the days as we can and count it as a blessing.
Wait a minute. Have you been did you go see some psychic? Were you peering into my brain?
I just signed into your own Gmail account and I read through your emails. Yeah.
The only reason why I'm saying that is because now what I do is I'm a motivational speaker.
Yes.
Which I really find a lot of joy in that. But this summer, I'm so excited. I am going to Vermont with a fellow colleague of mine, dancer friend, and we are actually doing just that. We're going to be in Vermont doing this fellowship and working on something about this whole crazy thing that I called my life.
That's
hey,
awesome.
Chad, I feel an RV road trip.
Yes, and some maple syrup coming.
And some maple syrup.
Yay,
which is
nice and pretty. I'm okay.
I love it. Well, it's. I wish we had more time. It's time to wrap up, but I think, Chad, you're going to have to ask her. I mean, which is going to go better with maple syrup?
Yes, Nicole, we have a question for you and all of our guests, but we'd like to know a hard, pressing question. It's going to be hitting hard. Okay, you have to choose one or the other, not both. Bacon or eggs?
Oh, that. Can I plead the fifth?
No.
That's the first.
I don't know if I can answer that.
Then by default it goes to bacon.
Okay.
No, you don't like that answer.
I don't know. I like cashews. Does that work?
Cashews
rhymes with eggs. I'll allow it. We'll
Cashews are Switzerland. Switzerland.
You know what?
They're good.
You are unique enough that we will allow it this time, and maybe this time.
Yes, I have used cashews as a substitute for eggs when I'm thickening things. So I think you're right.
Of course.
Of course I would. That's what vegans do.
There you go. Wah.
Right.
Although bacon and eggs, that combination, it's kind of incredible. Steak and eggs, well, now that's a whole different beast.
Yep. Well, Nicole Marquez, thank you so much for joining us and all of our listeners too on Everyday Practices. Take care.
Bring your lunch or take us to the gym again next week to improve your everyday practices. Also, subscribe on iTunes, follow us on social media, and sign up for our email list. Now get out there and win with Everyday Practices.